My head says Kimberly Akimbo. My heart might say Shucked. My stomach says sour cream and onion Pringles. I don't know what that's about. Oh my god, hey!
Hello!
Welcome back to my theatre-themed YouTube channel. My name is Mickey Jo.
And I am Aeron James.
And today we are going to be talking all about the
Tony Awards
2023. So previously on my channel, we have talked about the nominations. We reacted to them live, which was very fun, watching with all of you who joined us. I talked about who I thought was snubbed and robbed of a nomination at this year's awards. I also speculated about whether the awards are even going to happen. There's a little bit of uncertainty due to the ongoing writers' strike. Power to the unions, but we want to know if the Tonys are happening.
Yeah.
At the moment, it looks like the Tony Awards will be going ahead, albeit in a slightly different, more loose and improvisational format. I'm both excited and scared, to quote Into the Woods. But erring on the side of positivity, in a very glass half full kind of a perspective, we are going to predict the Tony Awards nonetheless. So today we'll be bringing you our thoughts on who do we think should win each category in the Tonys and who will win. Now, we've done this before in previous years, but this year it's very exciting because we have a lot more insight because we went to New York. I don't know if we've mentioned that at all or made any content around it.
No, I don't think we've shown it at all, really.
But Aeron and I both visited Broadway and New York for the very first time back in March of this year, and we saw a bunch of shows. Mostly, we will have more insight into the musical categories, but we're still going to take a guess on every single category anyway. So you can check back in with this video, and I will check back in with this video after the Tony Awards actually take place, and we'll see who, if either of us, was more correct about who was going to win the Tonys. Did that sentence make sense? One of us is going to win. We're going to guess one of us will win. And if you too want a chance to win things by predicting the Tonys, then I have a very exciting partnership for you that I'm going to tell you about right now. Cut to ad. Oh my god, hey! So the good people at TodayTix and ShowScore have teamed up to bring you an amazing Tony Awards based competition. Between now and the 9th of June, you can pick who you think is going to win in every category of the Tony Awards. Whoever gets the most correct answers will be eligible to win a $1,000 TodayTix gift card. That's $1,000 that you can spend on theatre. That would get you tickets to like 10 of your favourite shows. In the event of a tie, a winner will be drawn at random, and entrants must be over the age of 18 and must live within the United States or its territories. But I think this is a fantastic idea. It's been really well designed and put together, and you get to see who everyone else has voted for as you go through, which I think is really interesting. After you've picked who you think is going to win, you get to see the breakdown of votes. It'll take you a few moments to click through and pick all of your winners, and then all you have to do at the end is sign up for an account with ShowScore or log into one if you have one already. ShowScore is a free website that lets you review all the shows that you have seen on Broadway. And I wish you all the best of luck. And we're back. So the good news is, if you watched the one we did for the Olivier's, we have new pens. New pens. I'm hoping you can read this now. Yeah. Hello there. So Aeron James, as always, with his lovely speaking voice, is going to read out the nominees.
Here we go.
Best Book of a Musical. So I'm going to take us to the Drama Desk result, if I can find it. So Some Like It Hot won Best Book of a Musical, Matthew Lopez and Amber Ruffin. But that's not to say they're going to win the Tony. So who are our nominees?
So our nominees are And Juliet by David West Reed, Kimberly Akimbo by David Lindsay Abaire, New York, New York by David Thompson and Sharon Washington, Shucked by Robert Horn, and Some Like It Hot by Matthew Lopez and Amber Ruffin.
It's a tricky one. It's a very tricky one. I'm gonna open controversially. Do I lose points for spelling? 3, 2, 1. What does yours say?
Oh, we did the same.
Did we?
We did Kimberly Akimbo and Should Win for Shucked.
Yes, I think because Shucked is corny
so clever,
and light-hearted, but it is clever.
It's
because
clever.
To write dumb comedy, it needs to have to be very clever. It's actually deceptively sophisticated, and it's contemporary while still being classic, and it's got thousands of jokes in. Like, it's so many one-liners.
That book is probably the most talked about book of the year.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's the thing that people talk about the most is the comedy of Shucked. I don't know another book from a season that people comment on. David
Lindsay Abaire's character insights in Kimberly Akimbo are fantastic, but it's because he's adapting his own play. I don't think it's as much of a triumph. Potentially just on paper, it might be the stronger book, dramatically looking at it. But given the context of where it came from, I'm less impressed.
Yeah, that's kind of my own feelings.
Sorry, David.
I'm glad that the drama desk came out beforehand. But you also have to remember that Kimberly Akimbo was the year before.
Yeah, so Kimberly Akimbo wasn't even eligible in this year's drama desks because it was eligible for its off-Broadway life in the previous year. So it makes it difficult to fully take the drama desks at face value.
Almost Famous, music by Tom Kitt and lyrics by Cameron Crowe and Tom Kitt. Kimberly Akimbo, music by Janine Tesori and lyrics by David Lindsay Abaire. K-pop, music and lyrics by Helen Park and Max Vernon.
I don't know enough of these scores to do my little, intermediary tunes.
Shucked, music and lyrics by Brandy Clark and Shane McNally. And Some Like It Hot, music by Mark Shaman and lyrics by Scott Whitman and Mark Shaman.
Interestingly enough, at the drama desks, this was split into two different categories. Outstanding music went to Brandy Clark and Shane McNally for Shucked, and lyrics went to Shaman and Whitman for Some Like It Hot. The fact that we're both writing so much gives me a sense of where this is going.
I think we might be slightly different.
Oh, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, so we're slightly different.
You think Shucked should win?
I think we have to really celebrate a show that manages to bring a musical genre that's not often worked into musical theatre.
Yeah. Even though we've had things like Oklahoma, this sounds a lot more like authentically country.
This is like the country music, popular music genre.
Yeah. But then K-pop did that as well for K-pop. And I don't think Shucked is the Hamilton of country music in terms of its score. It doesn't bowl me over. And when I remind myself that this is, if this was the Grammys, I might have a different answer for you. But when I remind myself that this is, for theatre, I think in terms of its theatrical capabilities, the score of, musicalised monologues that Kimberly Akimbo is just
It's a lot more
genius.
akin to Sondheim.
Yeah, in terms of, who am I giving the award to for art? It's Akimbo.
I think that's why I think it will win. A great thing that she's done is create musical theatre-complex songs for older performers, which is something that we do not have.
Absolutely. And also when we talk about something having a big commercial legacy and being the big hit of the season in terms of an individual song, this is where we start to see the disparity between what might win a Tony and what might actually go on to be enduringly successful. Because there's a gulf between those two things sometimes.
Yahya Abdul-Mateen II for Susan Laurie Park's Top Dog Underdog. Corey Hawkins for Susan Laurie Park's Top Dog Underdog. Sean Hayes for Goodnight Oscar. Stephen McKinley Henderson for Between Riverside and Crazy. And Wendell Pierce for Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman.
Sean Hayes won the drama desk. Do with that information what you will. I'm doing a should, but it's a tongue-in-cheek should. Bam! Who have you said will? Sean Hayes. Following the drama desk. I've heard great things about Sean Hayes' performance. It's the kind of thing that wows Tony voters as well. He acts and he plays a piano. That's
Gimmicks.
2 things.
Anything that's a little bit further, a little bit you're
you got to get a gimmick if you want to get a Tony Award.
Yeah.
Who should win? Aeron Abisakera.
He should have got a nomination. I do not understand how he did not.
I'm enduringly furious that Aeron Abisakera from Life of Pi, who
carries
carries that show and that boat on his back and won the Olivier rightfully, was not nominated on Broadway, and I'm not going to stop talking about it.
We have Jessica Chastain for A Doll's House, Jodie Comer for Prima Facie, Jessica Hecht for Summer 1976, and Audra McDonald for Ohio State Murders.
Interesting. And Jessica Chastain won the drama desk.
Ooh, although...
no, she did.
Yes, but there's a slight star there. Mm-hmm. Because Jodie Comer was not in that category. She was in solo performance, and she won.
Jodie Comer won the Olivier going into this. Audra McDonald is Audra McDonald. Oh, I don't know.
I know.
This is hard.
I think this is a 50-50.
Bam, we both went Jodie Comer.
I think it was a bit of a Brit in me. It was just but I think also she's been about for a bit, but this is still an up-and-coming kind of rising star in some senses in America.
It's a topical performance. It's the more recent of the two. She has momentum, and it's a one-person show. She does the whole thing by herself.
So we have Christian Ball for Some Like It Hot, Jay Harrison G for Some Like It Hot, Josh Groban for Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, Brian Darcy James for Into the Woods, Ben Platt for Parade, and Colton Ryan for New York, New York.
J. Harrison G. won the drama desk.
You know what? It's not actually the will win that I'm finding difficult here.
Oh, you're
it's
finding your
should win.
difficult. I thought you'd written down Glee then, and I just realised what you're writing. I shouldn't be looking at your whiteboard. This is cheating.
Rude.
I take for granted that I can't see anything without my glasses.
Rude.
But bam! So we've both said J. Harrison G. will win.
Yeah.
Which I think so.
I think so. There's so much momentum around that role.
And I hope so. I want J. Harrison G. to win.
They're just such a star. I think regardless of the show, it just kind of proved just how good J. Harrison G is as a performer.
Yeah, and I think I would be writing J. Harrison G's name twice on this board with stronger material. I think if there were more, because the thrust is shared between the two of them, it's impressive that alongside Christian Borle, J. Harrison G can shine as brightly as they do. But I think if it was not shared between the two, there would be more opportunities for us to really enjoy every single beat of that arc.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that Act 2 song is the big thing that's like, that's where the momentum is.
And it's a great number. Yeah. You've said Ben Platt should win for his performance in Parade.
I think it's the most complex role out of all of them. I just think his performance is really commendable.
I'm sticking with my boy Colton Ryan. I really enjoyed his performance in New York, New York. I thought it was technically impressive. I got his characterization. I thought it was pretty thankless character material, honestly, because the Book of New York, New York is what it is. And I thought he was very charismatic, and I think that would be... I'd love to see that win. I think that'd be fantastic. What have you dropped now?
My pen.
Where's it gone?
This is why now I'm like, have you used my pen?
I don't think so. That was the sound of it falling from you.
Annalie Ashford for Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. Sarah Bareilles for Into the Woods. Victoria Clark for Kimberly Akimbo.
I panicked.
Lorna Courtney for Anne Juliet.
Sorry, I'm making this take a very long time. You carry on.
And Michaela Diamond for Parade.
Oh, so Annalie Ashford has been winning a couple of awards.
Yeah.
For her performances, but Victoria Clark was winning this time last year. We can't forget Victoria Clark. She's going to sneak up out of the shadows and stab Annalie Ashford in the back with a knife.
The question a lot of people have said as well with this is whether people will give Annalie votes because she was not eligible for Sunday.
This is the thing. Yes, that's also a factor. You have to think about Tony Awards politics like this. We've seen winners in the past, performers like Cheetah Rivera and Bernadette Peters have often won for roles that were not necessarily their most beloved or most critically acclaimed because of the weird way that it works out. Now, when Annalie Ashford was in Sunday in the Park with George, she got glowing reviews, rapturous responses, but producers decided not to submit the show for Tony Awards candidacy. That's a hard word to say. So is she going to benefit from the continuing love at this year's ceremony? Or... I mean, is that enough to compete with the continuing love for Victoria Clark's entire illustrious career?
Yeah.
Both of them have won Tonys before. It's not like this means more to one than the other.
Yeah, we
there we go.
Same.
There's others in this category I'd be thrilled for,
Yeah.
like Michaela winning.
Yeah.
I'd be delighted. I'd jump up and down. But I think Victoria Clark is the correct answer for me. Here, it's a phenomenal performance. It's incredibly well crafted.
It's such a complex role as well.
It's such a complex role, and from what I've seen of her performances via recordings and such, I think it's career-defining, and that from someone who we already thought had given their career-defining performance.
Jordan E. Cooper for Ain't No Mo. Samuel L. Jackson for August Wilson's The Piano Lesson. Arian Moyed for A Doll's House. Brandon Uranowitz for Leopoldstadt, and David Zayas for Cost of Living.
Who's it gonna be for the Tony? Who's it gonna be?
3, 2, 1, go!
Bam!
Yeah.
Uranowitz.
Yeah.
And it's not that I just think that the drama desks are going to be like an indicator of every single category. It's seeming as though I'm just following the drama desks a lot. But Brandon Uranowitz is also one of the few nominees that we actually predicted would get nominated in this category who did.
Yeah.
So I feel like we've got to stick with him.
And also, like, Leopoldstadt's quite a favourite to win Best Play, and he's the only performer nominated from that show, which must say something.
And it's like a Tony voters kind of a play.
Yeah.
And also, I always want to support a musical theatre actor doing dramatic work and being allowed to do dramatic work and being allowed to go into dramatic roles and getting acclaim for them. I think that's great.
Yeah.
No segregation of acting talents, please.
Nikki Crawford for Fat Ham. Crystal Lucas Perry for Ain't No Mo. Miriam Silverman for The Sign in Cindy Brewstein's Window. Katie Sullivan for Cost of Living, and Cara Young for Cost of Living.
So Miriam Silverman, again, won the Drama Desk. We've seen only one of these. We saw Fat Ham.
3, 2, 1, go.
Ba-bam. Ba-bam. Oh, you've said Nikki Crawford for the one performance that we have seen.
I feel like this could be a category where everybody thinks it'll be Miriam Silverman, and it'll be somebody different from who they expect.
I think there's more capacity for like upsets and surprises and newcomers in supporting.
And I kind of feel like, well, when we came out of Fat Ham, I instantly said she's going to get a Tony nomination.
Yeah. And who should win? Sharon D. Clarke, who is not nominated. I still don't understand why. I don't understand why. With little else to go on, I look to the Drama Desk Awards to guide me in this instance because I don't have many other insights. I enjoyed Nikki Crawford's performance, but it wasn't like a dramatic performance.
Yeah.
And from what I know about The Sign at Sidney Brewstein's Window, that's a slightly heavier play than a Fat Ham, which for Nikki Crawford's part in it was comedic.
Kevin Cahoon for Shucked. Justin Cooley for Kimberly Akimbo. Kevin De La Guia for Some Like It Hot. Jordan Donica for Lerner and Lowe's Camelot. And Alex Newell for Shucked.
You will notice I've already started writing.
Yep.
Alex Newell across the board. The whiteboard, that is.
Yeah, I kind of think it's Alex Newell's to lose because it's a role that has a lot more than the one number. It's the one number that nobody this whole season has stopped talking about.
What is the Tony Award for, if not for that one really show-stopping performance that steals the entire show from a supporting cast member? It's so obviously awards-worthy. Everyone's been talking about it. Alex Newell will not only win the Tony, but the entire Broadway season, the entire Tony Awards this year. Alex Newell has won this season of The Voice simply by performing as a guest performer on behalf of Shucked, and Alex Newell has won all of our hearts. If Alex does lose to anyone, Kevin Del Aguila.
Well, I also wonder if Justin Cooley's got this thing because, again, not eligible this year.
The Kimberly surprise. The Akimbo surprise attack.
Julia Lester for Into the Woods, Ruthie Ann Miles for Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, Bonnie Milligan for Kimberly Akimbo, Natasha Yvette Williams for Some Like It Hot, and Betsy Wolfe for Anne Juliet.
So nobody in this category won at the Drama Desks because Alex Newell and Kevin Del Aguila won in this category as the two winning performers.
But last year, Bonnie Milligan won.
Reveal. You gone Bonnie Milligan?
Yeah.
Bonnie Mills. Belting Bonnie Milligan. I'm still mourning for Ali Morsey.
Yeah.
Who I think gives just as good a performance in Kimberly Akimbo with slightly less ostentatious material. I think her material is subtler, but I love the choices that she makes so deeply. And we haven't seen Betsy Wolfe and Anne Juliet, and I know that that's a very fun and winning role.
If we're talking about kind of Alex Newell being somebody that people haven't stopped talking about, the same can be said for what Bonnie does with this show. And I think it's another person that hasn't yet been in a role where she could get the acclaim, but had already built up the acclaim for past things.
Completely. How long have we been waiting for Bonnie Milligan to get recognition on Broadway? How great would it be if she won a Tony Award? She has put in the work, and it would make our substandard lives better.
It also is nice to see body diversity as well.
Oh, yeah.
That would be celebrated.
Oh, yeah.
We have Miriam Buford for Prima Facie, Tim Hatley and Andre Golding for Life of Pi, Rachel Hawke for Goodnight Oscar, Richard Hudson for Leopoldstadt, and Dane Laffrey and Lucy McKinnon for A Christmas Carol. 3, 2, 1. Well, we kind of both do the same anyhow.
Yeah, I so nearly didn't write Life of Pi for Will Win, just because it hasn't had the love. I mean, the people who nominate for the Tonys and the people who vote for winning on the Tonys are two different bodies of people, so that's not necessarily an indication. But I don't know. I don't know if Life of Pi is going to get the love for its set.
It's tricky with the Tony Awards, because they've done a different thing than the Olivier Awards did, where puppetry falls.
Is it time for a best puppetry in a play or musical category at the Tonys? I think so, because then you could invite famous puppets to present the award.
You could bring out Milky White.
You could. See, there's been so much puppetry on Broadway this season.
Beowulf Borrett for New York, New York. Mimi Lean for Sweeney Todd for Demon Barber of Fleet Street. Michael Yegan and 59 Productions for Lerner and Lowe's Camelot. Scott Pask for Shucked. Scott Pask for Some Like It Hot.
Now, we haven't seen Camelot.
How do you mean we haven't seen Camelot?
No, we haven't seen Camelot.
No, we haven't seen Camelot. I know what you mean though. I was like, we haven't seen Camelot in the noms we
As
have.
in you and I personally
No,
did
we
not
did not
see
see
Camelot. I've set my answers. 3, 2, 1. New York, New York is what we've written down. That's not from the show, it's from On the Town.
The amount of set in this show.
Yeah, it certainly wins the Tony for most set in a musical.
And it is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
I just love whenever a musical has kind of fire escapes and the fun intricacies and levels.
I do prefer the outer thirds of the stage to the middle third of the stage.
I agree.
But I like the outer thirds enough that I still think that this should win. That's how good they are.
And they have surprise tricks at the end of a show. Awards always fall, I think, for a show that brings a bit of ingenuity and something that we've not seen before.
And everybody loves to get a surprise.
And I feel like this is the show of the season that has surprised. Although I will say I did love Sweeney Todd's crane.
It offered a bit of a twist on the traditional Sweeney Todd staging. Best crane in a musical, as and when that Tony becomes a thing, Sweeney Todd's.
Tim Hatley, Nick Barnes and Finn Caldwell for Life of Pi. Dominique Thornhill for Fat Ham. Brigitte Reifenstuhl for Leopoldstadt. Emilio Sosa for Ain't No Mo, and Emilio Sosa for Goodnight Oscar.
Again, we've only actually seen 2 of these, but I've still written down in both categories anyway. 3, 2, 1. Life of Pi.
The puppetry is in costume design of the play.
And the puppetry is theatrical and vivid and atmospheric and incredible. It's you can't say no to that. You can't say no to that. And it does make it very difficult for the other nominees in this category when they're just making period dresses, and it's like, well, you know what, that dress, I don't believe that dress is a tiger. I don't believe that.
I was going to say though, a big shout out to the finale costume in Fat Ham.
Yeah, so the sets and costumes in Fat Ham for like 5 minutes of the show are so different to the rest of the show. And I'd forgotten about that end, both in set design and costume design, until you said that.
Greg Barnes for Some Like It Hot. Susan Hilferty for Parade. Jennifer Moeller for Lerner and Lowe's Camelot. Clint Ramos and Sophia Choi for Cake Pop, Pamela Young for And Juliet, and Donna Zakowska for New York, New York.
Greg Barnes won the drama desk for Some Like It Hot.
Greg Barnes as well is a very known name in the costume design for theatre world.
I think that Some Like It Hot will take costume design, all the sequins and the sparkles and the blue suits, and there is a tremendous sensitivity shown in designing Daphne's costumes. I noticed this recently.
That's
in
true.
terms of like the silhouettes chosen, and it's done in such a tasteful and elegant way that doesn't use like drag kind of like padding and like cinching. It's so just like, this is a human being, and it's not that there's an enormous transformation from Jerry to Daphne, and I like that. And everything everyone wears in that show is like period appropriate and gorgeous and stunning. But I think I agree with you, and Juliet should win. I could speak at length about the costume design in And Juliet and why I love it, and the way it uses historical elements and puts a contemporary twist on them is exactly what the show does.
So I went for And Juliet for both. Neil Austin for Leopoldstadt, Natasha Chivers for Prima Facie, John Clark for A Doll's House, Bradley King for Fat Ham, Tim Lutkin for Life of Pi, Jen Shriver for Arthur Miller's Death of the Salesman, and Ben Stanton for A Christmas Carol.
So Prima Facie won lighting design at the drama desks. but Life of Pi won projection and video.
Ooh.
And that's not a separate thing at the Tonys. Bam. So Life of Pi. But now that we've said Life of Pi and lighting, this is the one I'm more readily willing to put them down for, and I wonder if Set is going to do something weird and go to Leopoldstadt.
Okay. I kind of feel like it might be a sweep of design. I think that's the thing with Life of Pi that stays with you the most and people want to talk about the most is the design. And
For sure.
I kind of feel like if the voters decided they're going to give one of the three to Life of Pi, all three will go to Life of Pi.
I think if any is going to fall out of that boat, it's going to be set design.
Yeah.
Because I think if you really consider like what Life of Pi's set is without the lighting elevates it to something more, and it's the creative collaboration that's so successful. But the set design by itself, I don't know if people will be as impressed by. They should, because the set does very clever things if you really think about it.
The automation
I don't know if people will sort of look at it as a backdrop against which stunning lighting and projection is done.
Ken Billington for New York, New York. Lat Chi Chu for Lerner and Lowe's Camelot. Heather Gilbert for Parade. Howard Hudson for And Juliet. Natasha Katz for Some Like It Hot, and Natasha Katz for Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street.
Believe it or not, this is the Sophie's Choice of the Tony Awards for me. This is the hardest one because there's two in this where I think lighting design exceptional in both.
And I believe both have done really well. The two that I'm thinking have both done really well at previous Tonys.
Natasha Katz won for Sweeney at the Drama Desks, FYI.
3, 2, 1.
Ba-bam! You've written Double Sweeney?
Yeah.
So what I did here is I drew a pie, and that went quite well. And then I tried to draw a razor with blood. Now that's a scythe for the Grim Reaper. I realised I don't know how to draw a cut-throat razor. It's got like the two things.
I mean, the one I was stuck between also is New York, New York.
That's the other one for me. I think lighting is incredible in both. The lighting's a lot more obvious in New York, New York.
Yeah.
It's kind of impressive, like, but it really hits you over the head with it.
New York's set design is kind of the glowy of the two. With Sweeney Todd, I think the lighting design does so much on top of that set.
The lighting design made me gasp in Sweeney Todd. I've spoken at length in my review video, if you've watched that, about how incredible and atmospheric that lighting design was, and one of my favourite things about the production was its lighting.
Jonathan Deans and Taylor Williams for Ain't No Mo. Caroline Downing for Life of Pi. Joshua D. Reed for A Christmas Carol. Ben and Max Ringham for A Doll's House. And Ben and Max Ringham for Prima Facie. 3, 2, 1.
Reveal. And A Doll's House. Yeah, A Doll's House. Ben and Max Ringham won at the Drama Desks. And though this production is a minimal one aesthetically, that does draw a lot of attention to the sound design. It's a Jamie Lloyd. You've got to have the microphones right here so you can whisper things. He loves this. He's all about this. It's theatre ASMR, everybody. I'm going to lean back now.
And this is a kind of a category that I could see Life of Pi not getting. If it got the 4, I think it'd be 3 and not this one.
Sure.
Because I think people would forget about the importance of the sound design in that show.
Yeah.
Kai Harada for New York, New York. John Shivers for Shucked. Scott Lehrer and Alex Newman for Into the Woods. Gareth Owen for And Juliet. And Nevin Steinberg for Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street.
Scott Lehrer and Alex Neumann won for Into the Woods at the Drama Desks.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's partly to do with the fact they had the full orchestra on stage.
That's got to be an element of it. So we both think Into the Woods will win. They won the Drama Desk.
And when I explained why I thought that they might have won it, now I'm like, actually, that's such a feat.
Yeah, a big feature of that production was having the full orchestra on stage. So that's something to really consider. You've said that Shucked should win.
I think it's to do with the mixing for me. Mm-hmm. It's like a country gig would be, just how well mixed the band were.
It was a fantastic sound. I've written New York, New York. There's a lot of instruments on that stage, and there's been a lot of discourse about how many of them are being played live and whether any of them are being mimed, and I found it very difficult to tell the difference. And that alone, I think, is a creative achievement. I think it's done its job. If there's that many instruments and the sound is coming through in just a cohesive way.
Sahim Ali for Fat Ham, Joe Bonney for Cost of Living, Jamie Lloyd for A Doll's House, Patrick Marber for Leopoldstadt, Stevie Walker-Webb for Ain't No Mo, and Max Webster for Life of Pi.
Max Webster won the drama desk for Life of Pi. 3, 2, 1. Bam. Oh, you've got Life of Pi.
I don't know how often a best director and a best play are always the same every year.
Mm-hmm.
That was one thought. I was trying to think, how often are they actually both all the time? Sometimes yes, but Life of Pi isn't nominated for Best New Play. And so I could see if people were upset that Life of Pi didn't get a Best New Play nom, they would go in this category and go in direction.
I think I'm leaning more towards Best Play taking Best Director with its momentum. But Max Webster did win Best Director for Life of Pi, Outstanding Director, I should say, at the drama desks. So you might be onto something there. We will find out. We'll find out when the ceremony happens.
Michael Arden for Parade, Leah de Bossonette for Into the Woods, Casey Nicholaw for Some Like It Hot, Jack O'Brien for Shucked, and Jessica Stone for Kimberly Akimbo. 3, 2, 1.
My thoughts. You think Parade will and should?
Yes.
I would love it if he did. I really would. I think where Best Musical goes, Best Director will follow. Which is a bit of a spoiler about how I think about a later category.
See, I don't know because the revival's coming into this. This is my dilemma really was between whether Leah de Bossonette winning with Into the Woods. They got the Drama League for Outstanding Director of a Musical.
They did. I don't know if you could win over some of these other kinds of shows with something semi-staged.
I feel like the material will get weighted more than maybe elements of the production, because from looking at the drama desk and the drama leagues from last year, the focus was more on material than it was on material and performances rather than the production itself.
Sure.
Whereas I feel like with Parade, the focus is more on the directing work than it is.
I think Michael Arden's work is stunning on Parade, and I would love for him to win.
Stephen Hoggett for Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, Casey Nicholaw for Some Like It Hot, Susan Stroman for New York, New York, Jennifer Webber for & Juliet, and Jennifer Webber for K-pop.
I'm torn between this and something else for should.
Who got the drama desk?
The drama desk went to Casey Nicholaw for Some Like It Hot.
You ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
Reveal. We've done the same thing. Yeah.
It's the tap dance in Act 2.
Yeah.
That tap dancing chase scene is just undeniable.
It uses dance as a language of storytelling in a way that is both compelling, entertaining, and whimsical. And that, I think that's a very winning combination of things.
Yeah.
I also think there's moments of Stephen Hoggett's and Sweeney Todd that are mesmerising, but I don't know if it's used consistently enough throughout to really have that much of an impact. I think if there was a little bit more of Stephen Hoggett's kind of style of movement throughout Sweeney Todd, rather than just these few sporadic, incredible moments like the flashback in Poor Thing and like City on Fire, then perhaps. But as it stands, I think Casey Nicholaw is going to take it.
A big shout out to Jennifer Webber for getting the 2 noms.
Love that for Jennifer Webber.
And the & Juliet choreo is phenomenal. But I think when you've got titans like Susan Stroman and Casey Nicholaw in that category, it's going to be one or the other.
Yep.
Bill Sherman and Dominic Falacaro for & Juliet, John Clancy for Kimberly Akimbo, Jason Howland for Shucked, Charlie Rosen and Brian Carter for Some Like It Hot, and Daryl Waters and Sam Davis for New York, New York.
Bam! You've stuck with Some Like It Hot across the board.
But I wish I could about.
You regret your choice instantly.
So, should win,
This is where I have gone with Shucked, and I drew a little corn. I don't know if you can see that. This is I realised pretty late in the game that I don't know how to draw corn. But I think Shucked, this is where I'll give it props for the authentic country music feel. It's just fun. It's a fun orchestration. But I think Some Like It Hot probably will take it for the illustriousness. I think it goes to show what a surprise this year has been that we're not writing down New York, New York.
Yeah, completely.
Ask me before I saw that show, and maybe I would have done.
My thing there with Some Like It Hot is just that it's big brass band. And it's been a while since we've seen a musical go so full out.
a good show, a decent show, a classic show, feel good, toe tapping. It's great for tourists, and that's not quite as compelling to root for as someone doing something newer and fresher and more exciting.
I completely agree. I was stuck between the two.
Can't take it back now. You've committed it to ink.
Ain't No Mo, Between Riverside and Crazy, Cost of Living, Fat Ham, and Leopoldstadt.
3, 2, 1. Reveal. Leopoldstadt. Interesting that only one of the 3 Olivier Award-winning eligible Best New Plays on Broadway this season has actually been nominated, which is Leopoldstadt. Yep. But I do think, I think it's exactly the kind of show that would win Best New Play at the Tony Awards.
And it has a big connection with the Broadway community.
Yeah, I think it has a tremendous amount of cultural significance.
Yeah. And Juliet, Kimberly Akimbo, New York, New York, Shucked, and Some Like It Hot. 3, 2, 1.
Ba-bam!
Yeah, Kimberly Akimbo.
Kimberly Akimbo, we take the turn, the inevitable turn. I mean, yeah.
It just feels like a Tony Award winner.
It does. And it feels like the Tony Award winner we need and that we deserve. And of all the shows, it feels like the right combination of just great theatre and like strong artistic merit.
Yes.
As well. It's not necessarily like the single most crowd pleasing, but I think you have to consider what it's like contributing to the art form.
Yeah.
So my head says Kimberly Akimbo, my heart might say Shucked, my stomach says sour cream and onion Pringles. I don't know what that's about.
August Wilson's The Piano Lesson, A Doll's House, Versailles and Cindy Brewstein's Window, and Susan Laurie Parks' Top Dog Underdog.
So The Piano Lesson won the Drama Desk.
Interesting.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Ba-bam. You've got A Doll's House.
Gone with A Doll's House.
It's very buzzy.
Well, I feel like...
And it's still running.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like this is the debate in my head, is if Jodie Comer gets Best Actress because A Doll's House get Best Revival. I don't know. This is a weird...
I love that you want to make everyone happy.
I mean, it could be that A Doll's House wins for Best Revival and Jessica Chastain wins for Best Actress.
Could be.
It is that thing of what's still open, so still can do buzzy things right now.
Could be. I've gone for The Piano Lesson because we did not see very many plays while we were on Broadway. Not many of them were still open, it's worth saying. This was not through lack of trying. But ours is not to know. Ours is to follow the drama desks. And The Piano Lesson won the drama desk for Best Revival of a Play, and that's all I have to go on, honestly. So that's what I've gone with.
Into the Woods, Lerner and Lowe's Camelot, Parade, and Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street. 3, 2, 1.
Ba-bam. We both think Parade should win.
I was nearly going to do the same thing and put Into the Woods for will win and Parade for should win.
Based on its recent success, I just think Into the Woods might win. I think there's a lot of Sondheim love right now. It's been doing this amazing tour, bringing these huge Broadway names across the country, and we know that there's a lot of like regional consideration when it comes to Tony voting. So I could see this happening. I think Parade should win for me. Of all the revivals, I don't think Sweeney Todd is quite perfect. I think Parade is stronger artistically, and I think we've had a lot of Sweeney Todds in our time as well, and I think this is a truly great Parade.
I think Parade is a bit with Leopoldstadt. It's whether the meaning to the Broadway community comes through.
True. And listen, I love Into the Woods. Into the Woods, my number one favourite musical of all time. And I'm so sad I didn't get to catch that revival on Broadway. And I know it means a lot to people just to have Into the Woods back on Broadway. But is my dream Into the Woods production one with the orchestra on stage where it's a semi-staged revival? No, my dream Into the Woods production has really big trees. So
I love how we say it's between the two Encores productions.
Yeah. It's a big year for Encores.
Yeah, really.
Big year for New York City Centre Encores, where those two productions both originated. But those have been our predictions for the Tony Awards. So to find out which of us was more correct, you're just going to have to tune in and watch the ceremony for yourselves, whatever that ceremony is going to end up looking like. And hopefully there'll be some sort of content here on my channel where you can watch us watching the ceremony, because we're absolutely going to stay up and watch it. Maybe
100%.
we're having a party. Maybe we're planning themed dishes. We'll tell you more about it near the time. You don't know. Brackets, this man from Parade. But thank you so much for joining us for our Tony Awards predictions. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to follow us both on social media. Subscribe to my channel. If you want to see my videos before anyone else, then you can sign up using the link in the description for early and exclusive video content. And you can find me on social media at MickeyJoTheatre on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And you can find Aeron
at Aeron James UK, Aeron.
Aeron. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to comment your Tony Awards predictions down below, and don't forget to click on the other link in the description and go and try and predict the Tonys for yourselves, because you could win a $1,000 TodayTix gift card. That's so much to spend on theatre. I cannot believe it, and I am already jealous of whichever one of you is going to get to win it. I hope that everyone is staying safe and that you have a stagey day. For 10 more seconds, I'm MickeyJoTheatre. Oh my god, hey. Thanks for watching, have a stagey day. Subscribe!